now what they've done with these wells, it's just an eyesore. Every
Right.
damn hill site, every hill you see now, and you've got tanks and you've got roads, location roads, and of course you've got the energy. You know, you got the tanker trucks coming in and out, and you've got well tenders coming in and out. Everything's I mean, it's just changing. You just have more people, more traffic. The quietness is gone. Like,
Right.
my property sits back up in. I have 141 acres,
Right.
and it's off the road. I have a right of way that goes down through almost 500 feet. Then you hit my property because I'm like landlocked.
Right.
But it was one way in, one way out, and you had nobody bother you. It was peaceful
Right.
back in there.
Right. Right.
You could do whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah. Now
Peace.
you can hear it all the way from here.
Oh well, there are people in there every day.
Yeah.
Tanker truck comes in. He'll come in anywhere from 10 o'clock at night till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But they play everything down, and they try to minimize everything
Right.
to their benefit.
Of course. Yeah.
And that's exactly what they do, and they lie. No one
Yeah.
tells you the truth, and when you start to ask a reasonable question, they give you a
Right.
lie.
Yeah.
They'll never tell you the truth. So I'm in litigation with Range Resources.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Chances are they're probably going to beat me. But I don't know. I'm fighting it to the very end.
Right. Right.
But long story short, they set me up. They set me up with another farm out here. They said, "What if we buy your farm in exchange? What if we buy your farm in exchange for this farm out here? It's like 4 miles away."
Right.
I said, "Well, keep talking," because they contaminated my pond. I got
Right.
like a 3-acre pond.
Right.
Till he denied it.
Yeah.
DEP couldn't
You
get
can
any
see
results.
that kind of stuff. The sediment coming out.
I couldn't see any of that. It just killed all the vegetation. All the vegetation was dead.
All of a sudden, it just died.
And it also killed my cattails.
Mm-hmm. Really? And those are pretty hardy, right? I mean,
Right.
you'd think.
Oh yeah. So, anyhow, my friend came over to fish, and he was fishing over there because we eat the fish out of there.
Yeah.
And he fished like 9 days prior to, and then when he came over to fish again with his daughter, well, boom, all the plants are dead, and he's the one that brought it to my attention. And I said, "You know, the water didn't look right." I said, "But I was so busy working on equipment, cutting grass, working in the garden, doing this, doing that." I said, "It didn't look right," but I just never went over to check it out.
Think about it. Yeah.
Well, when he came over after he was done fishing, he said, "Man, everything's dead." I said, "What?" So I went and I looked at it. So then I called Great Lakes people, and the man that was covering the sites.
Yeah.
I talked to him, and
All the seaweed and stuff like that.
everything was dead. All the plants were, all the plants were dead.
Yeah.
They just wiped it out, and that was in July of '06.
And they're still dead?
Oh, last year, '07, they didn't come back.
Yeah. Wow.
You'd see a couple here and there, but that's it. I mean, nothing. The plants were gone in there.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of largemouth bass in there, and the fish were beautiful and healthy. But and we fished the weed beds because the weed beds were so thick.
Right.
You could actually get the boat in the weed beds, and you wouldn't have to anchor. You could just sit there.
Right.
And then fish into the off the sides of the weed beds.
Yeah.
You can't do that now because there aren't any weeds.
Yeah.
But again, I saw when I talked to that individual from Great Lakes, I said, "Did you do a water sample?" Because I asked him, I said, "What the hell did you do to my pond?" What? I said, "I want a water sample done in my pond." I said, "All the vegetation's dead." He goes, "Oh," he says, well, what are we going to compare it to?" I said, "What do you mean, what are you going to compare it to? You never tested that water." "Well, I know."
Right, they never tested it before drilling.
Well, I thought they would because the well site's right above the pond.
Right.
Well, he says, and I said, "Well, I want that water tested." I asked him a second time. He says, "Well, again, what are we going to compare it to?"
Yeah.
I said, "I guess you're not understanding me."
Yeah.
Now I started to use some expletives.
Yeah.
I said, I want that water tested.
Yeah.
He said, Ron, I think a liner leaked.
Really?
Well, I went up there and started nosing around, and I could see at the toe of the location there was discolored water coming out.
Right.
And it's a spring up there.
Yeah.
And it goes right down into the pond.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'll have the water tested. So he has the water tested. Of course, they send their guy out from a lab that they've contracted out to.
Right.
They test the water. The acidity level was high in the back. It was like 8 something in the back and 4 something in the deep end. He said. I can't remember the exact numbers. So, and then he said, well, maybe it was from the farming practices. Then he said, I said, well,
Yeah.
no, the farming practices next to me have not changed. Everything's the same. That's my cousin.
Yeah.
So there's nothing changed.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, you got the golf course. I said, no, it can't be the golf course. I said, because if the acidity is that high, I said, they use the water out of the ponds and out of the ponds to irrigate their greens and fairways. I said,
Yeah.
they would burn them up.
Yeah.
So, and I walked over to the golf course and I looked at the last pond that feeds the stream that feeds my pond.
Yeah.
All the vegetation was fine.
Yeah. Of course.
So this was very easy to figure out, but
Right.
it was a cover-up.
Right.
And the DEP did absolutely nothing. They said, well, we can't really determine where it came from. Then I get a letter, which I have in my truck, stating that it had nothing to do with the drilling practices. And I got that letter, I don't know how many months later. It was months down the road, and I went ape on the individual that came to my property,
Right.
that was covering my property from the DEP, because this guy was just ridiculous. I mean, he absolutely, you could have a better conversation with a tree.
Right.
It's just been a total nightmare. It's been one episode after another.
Right.
So, and I said, if I ever would be approached by anybody in the future to do this again, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because once they lease your land, it's theirs.
Yeah.
And they do as they see fit. They could care less about you.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
could care less about the land.
Right.
You have no idea the garbage that's thrown out by you have so many different contractors, and there's so many people that just, they don't have no respect for the land or
Right.
the landowners. It's a job.
Right.
They're getting a paycheck, they're in, they're out. So it was just, again, one episode after another. It's been an incredible experience.
Mm-hmm. And you, at this point, you wish you never did it?
Oh yeah, I would never do it. I don't care how much money you make.
Yeah.
The land is raped.
Yeah.
The land will never be the same.
Right.
That's it. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to realize.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're making X amount of dollars off the royalty, but go try to sell that property now. What are you going to get for it?
Yeah.
If they have X amount of wells on it, and roads, and gas lines, who's going to buy it?
Yeah. Basically
So it's a
destroys
trade-off.
it. Yeah.
For a royalty check, or trying to liquidate your property,
Yeah.
it's a trade-off. Now, you know, they promote that you're going to make big money, etc., etc., and there's a lot of people around here, they are not making big money. They'll tell you straight up, they're sorry that they did it, because their land is butchered,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't worth it.
Right.
So, and there are some people that are making big money, and they could care less if you rape their land or not, because it's all about the dollar.
Right.
It has nothing to do about the environment or safety or health issues.
Mhm.
It's just about the almighty buck.